If confirmed as Director of National Intelligence, I will continue to live by the oath that I have sworn at least 8 times in my life, both in uniform and as a member of Congress. I will support and defend our God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
I do think both Kesh Patel and Tulsi Gabbard will both be confirmed. We have the votes. If it comes down to a tie, we know J.D. Vance gonna get us across the finish line. This video is brought to you by PDS Debt, brought to you by PDS Debt. Ladies and gentlemen, it's so easy to get into debt. The hardest thing is to get out of debt and get out of debt in an efficient way. That's why I'm telling you guys about PDS Debt. So whether or not you have debt from a credit card, medical bill debt, or anything of that nature, PDS Debt can help you. Everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies, and there is no credit score required. Bad or fair credit is accepted. And the biggest benefit of this is that you can pay off your current debt in a fraction of the time. How does PDS Debt work? This is how it works. PDS Debt will customize a payment plan for you, whether it's credit card debt, personal loan debt, collections, or medical bills. PDS Debt strives to understand your specific scenario and can help provide alternative solutions to becoming debt-free. Make this the year that you take control of your debt. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/Tatum. It only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/Tatum, pdsdebt.com/Tatum. Tulsi Gabbard, let's play a couple clips from Tulsi Gabbard. Wrote a clip.
The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice. And yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this must end.
How much time on it?
The fact is, what truly unsettles my political opponents is I refuse to be their puppet. I have no love for Assad or Gaddafi or any dictator. I just hate al-Qaeda. I hate that we have leaders who cozy up to Islamist extremists, minimizing them to so-called rebels. As Jake Sullivan said to Hillary Clinton, quote, al-Qaeda is on our side in Syria. Well, Syria is now controlled by an al-Qaeda offshoot, HTS, led by an Islamist jihadist who danced in the streets on 9/11 and who was responsible for the killing of many American service members. Democrat senators in the past resorted to anti-Christian bigotry against some of President Trump's judicial nominees like Amy Coney Barrett and Brian Boucher. I condemn those actions as a Democrat in Congress at the time, as religious bigotry must be thoroughly condemned by all of us, no matter the religion. Unfortunately, there are some Democrat senators who still don't understand the principle of freedom of religion and Article 6 of the Constitution. Quote, no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Unfortunately, they're once again using the religious bigotry card, but this time trying to foment religious bigotry against Hindus and Hinduism. If anyone is sincerely interested in knowing more about my own personal spiritual path of Hinduism, I welcome you to go to my account on X, where I'll share more on this topic. If confirmed as Director of National Intelligence, I will continue to live by the oath that I have sworn at least 8 times in my life, both in uniform and as a member of Congress. I will support and defend our God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to your questions.
My concern has to do with the tendency to repeat Russian and Syrian, and even in some cases, I think we'll get into in the closed session, Iranian information, and to discount what comes from our intelligence community.
Senator, every American deserves to know that people in our own government were providing support to our sworn enemy, al-Qaeda. That should not be acceptable by anyone.
Thank you, Senator Kelly. Ms. Gabbard. In conclusion, Senator.
As you know, there has been speculation in the press that you met with Hezbollah, a terrorist organization affiliated with Iran. Have you ever knowingly met with any members, leaders, or affiliates of Hezbollah?
No, and it is an absurd accusation.
Do you believe, as the chairman of this committee believes, as the vast majority of members of our intelligence agencies believe, that Edward Snowden was a traitor to the United States of America?
Senator, if confirmed as Director of National Intelligence, I will work with you to make sure that there is not another Snowden-like leak.
Media. It's not a moment to propagate theories, conspiracy theories, or attacks on journalism in the United States. This is when you need to answer the questions of the people whose votes you're asking for to be confirmed as the chief intelligence officer of this nation. As my colleague said, this is not about you. It's about the people that serve the intelligence agencies of the United States. Is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America? That is not a hard question to answer when the stakes are this high.
Senator, as someone who has
your
served
answer,
in
yes
uniform,
or no, is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
as someone who has worn our
my
uniform in combat, I understand how critical our national security
Apparently
is.
you don't. Apparently you don't. Let me ask you.
Now, this is just my take on this. These people are so fake and they grandstand, right? He want a yes or no answer because it benefits his narrative. He don't want a yes or no answer because he need a conclusive statement so she can articulate why she made the statement she made about Snowden. He didn't want that. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not going to vote for her anyway. I just, the crazy thing is that I don't like covering the hearings, although I do because I want you guys to be informed. I do think both Kesh Patel and Tulsi Gabbard will both be confirmed. We have the votes. If it comes down to a tie, we know J.D. Vance going to get us across the finish line. But it's all bull crap. I don't know why we even have these hearings when people are so partisan. Every Democrat is going to vote against every Republican nominee. Every Republican is going to vote for their own nominee. Whoever has the votes will win. There's only a few people that are open-minded enough to say maybe, maybe not. And those people still, in and of themselves, don't have a good explanation when they do decide not to confirm somebody. I think that Donald Trump deserves the opportunity to have his people put into place, period. He deserves to have his own people in there. Let's see what they do. You can complain. I'm sure there's ways to impeach once they have been appointed. They're not hired. It's not an employment job. They've been appointed, so I'm sure they can be impeached. They've been appointed by way of a vote. I'm sure they can be ousted if they're not doing their job, or you can criticize them. But when it comes down to whether or not these people should be given an opportunity, we have much better qualified people who use common sense and who are loyal to the United States of America more so than the people that they choose. Tulsi Gabbard, I would say, respectfully served this country. That's a qualification in and of itself. And then when she was a Democrat, they loved her. Kesh Patel, the black and brown body. They don't like the black and brown body when they Republican. If Kesh Patel was a Democrat, they'd be on his you-know-what, just riding it everywhere they want to go, on his jockstrap, what we used to call it. We used to call it something else, but I'm saved. They all over them.